I bet you would like your The Elder Scrolls 6 to look like this, right? I'm sorry, brother, me too, but that will not happen because this game will look more like this. And I will tell you why, because all the problem is with one guy, but first I want to ask you one simple question. If you would have a company in a gaming industry and there would be a person who is producing slop after slop after slop, bad game after bad game, what would you do to him? I would fire him, but apparently in a current state of gaming industry, if you do such a shit, you are getting promoted to the different work or maybe to even more influential company, because that's exactly what happened to John Dombrow, who was a main writer exactly on the Dragon Age, the Veilguard and some other games, about which we will talk in a second, and they are also very well known and I bet that you know them, but not for the good reasons. But before we will get to that, I think that you, as just like me, believed for a second that we won with the woke movement and finally game industry is healing. No, I'm sorry to say that, but no. This that we got Expedition 33, this that we got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and that we got such a game like Death Stranding, it doesn't mean anything. These good games are just like a shining diamond in a pile of shit that I will just display to you, because for some people games are just a way to escape from the real world, and for some people games are just a political agenda to spread their beliefs. And one of these people is a director of Gamescom, who is called Felix Volk, who said that for him one of the highlights of Gamescom this year was the special slot in Opening Night Live that highlighted 3 games about engaging with democracy. I don't know, for me highlight of this year and of the future years are good games, but apparently for other people the most important thing about games is politics, as he said. And I always say, games are political, no matter if you are planning to do it. Yeah, I remember when I was a child, when I was playing Jazz Jackrabbit 2, and I was running around with these rabbits, it was so political. Or for example, when I played Ski Deluxe Jumping, when I was jumping as Adam Mausch, it also was very political because I could wear a pink t-shirt. Or when I played some newer game like Balatro, it was also very political. I remember it teaching me about genocide and about things happening in Yemen. We are the most influential art form at the moment. We are the heart of pop culture, and this gives us responsibility as an industry as well to be political in a way. No, it doesn't give you a responsibility, no one is expecting it from you, but if you don't have anything else to offer as a creator, then you offer only this thing that is bothering your mind for a whole day. So if you're non-binary, the most important thing will be to communicate to everyone that there is such a thing like non-binary. For example, in Dragon Age the Veilguard.
So, I'm non-binary.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
And even if we tried not to be, we still express beliefs and we are influential on millions and billions of people worldwide. I don't think so. If you're a good writer, you know when to present which kind of political agendas. For example, Expedition 33 is a strong commentary about escapism, about responsibility of crowd and so on, but you can play this game and you cannot think about it. While on the other hand, you play Dragon Age the Veilguard and you see a person making push-ups just because they misgendered someone. And listen, I'm too lazy to look for some woke games, so I just saw that he mentioned one of these games here from Paint Bucket Games, and I found it. It's called The Darkest Files. Apparently the story is not so bad, but of course the main protagonist of this story has to be a woman, even though the main lawyer who was working on this case was some other guy who is here only mentioned. But the funniest thing is always with these studios, when you go to About Us and you read what they have to say about themselves, because they always have to push their political beliefs in this. For example, we at Paint Bucket Games are decidedly humanitarian, and the values we represent are reflected in the games we make. Our games serve as statements, of course, against racism, anti-Semitism, and every other form of hate, and discrimination. With well-researched historical and political themes, our games allow our players to respectfully engage with the past. Then I think that this studio would not be happy to be put at the same line as a studio who is making Take Us North, so basically a game about smuggling illegal immigrants through the American and Mexican border. And what they have to say about themselves. Anima Interactive is a socially conscious indie game studio. To be honest, if I would be a Paint Bucket Games and I would really try to do something good for the world, I would be disgusted that next to me is such a studio like Anima Interactive, because even they got watched by Asmongold. He laughed at them and then this game disappeared from the earth. But let's see why. Because this company is committed to humanizing the immigrants and refugee experience and portraying it sensitively, respectfully and authentically. I love this statement. I just love it in every way, because when we will scroll down we read that Take Us North blends narrative depth, strategic traversal and decision making and stealth mechanics to meaningfully connect players with the migrant experience. I just love that they are like in Skyrim way saying that immigrants basically are leveling up strategic traversal and stealth mechanics because that's the way that they need it. But yeah, very meaningful and very progressive story. I remember one more game about black protagonists, South of Midnight, where at the last moment they had to change the skin color of the main protagonist to black. So if you think that woke is broke, then no, woke is still being created. Even there is some people paying money to see it. There is a 57,000 out of 30,000 goal. Maybe they will be making this game as long as Pirate Software, I don't know, I don't really care and I will never play it in my life. I would rather play one more time Death Stranding 2 than just look at 10 minutes gameplay of this game. But we get to the main topic. Because John Dombrow is a very prominent person in the gaming industry. He created such a game as Mass Effect 3, where he basically was responsible for Garrus. I don't know if you like his story, but also the ending of this game was critically acclaimed to be a dog shit. And also he was responsible for one of the missions that I saw that other people were saying that is also terrible, but I don't have my opinion about it. I only played Mass Effect 3, so I can't compare it to the previous installments. For me this game was fine. Then we moved to Game of Thrones, a Telltale game series. It had like 7.2 rating, but Telltale was basically at this time at the slope down, where every single game was giving you a linear story with fake choices, so I have nothing to say about this. But now we get to 3 out of 3 jackpot. Because first game is Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a terrible game, it sold badly. Then the second game, you already see it, it's Anthem, okay? So we have 2 out of 2, 10 points out of 10 points. All the craps, all the worst games, but you shouldn't be surprised, he worked for BioWare, so he was working on all of these slops. But then we get to the creme de la creme, which is Dragon Age Veilguard, where he was a senior narrative designer and writer, and he even wrote such a quest as Darwin Story Arc, Siege of Weishaupt, Veil Jumper, and Lighthouse Narrative Planning and Design. And I have to say that I didn't play this game, I never want to touch it in my life, I saw enough from this game, but I heard that all of these quests are bad, they are just seen by players as bad. And now he's working on another game, Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is such an interesting game where the main protagonist from a guy was changed to a woman, which is a very cool idea because there is a whole story about in the whole mythology. But also they hired actress who is a crazy activist who decided that it would be great to say all of this crazy shit on Twitter, but then users found it on the internet and she got a lot of backlash because of this. And still, if you go to Ghost of Yotei, you will see a lot of downvotes, and it's basically because of this. So him working with Perry with hair, this is a dream team. But now, what could happen to him after 4 slops? Did he get demoted? Can we meet him at some McDonald's? No. He got hired by Bethesda, ladies and gentlemen, and so far, the only thing that could save you, guys, everyone who is waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6, is that he's working on some DLC for Starfield. But I'm sorry to say that this DLC is almost done, so there is nothing to work on, but there is only one thing that can save people who are waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6, and it's basically that he will ruin Fallout 5 and that Fallout 5 will get the bullet or will get the atom bomb instead of the Elder Scrolls 6. So now the countdown begins and we are waiting to see if he's working on this or in that game, and which game will be more woke, Fallout 5 or the Elder Scrolls 6. And if you think that Bethesda will not risk it, that Bethesda will not sacrifice their game for woke and DEI, then I would like to remind you that there is such a game called Oblivion Remastered, where they on purpose removed genders and added body types. So what are you even expecting here? Especially that Microsoft has a special set of rules that forces developers to include DEI elements in their games, and basically if they will not do it, then the game will not appear on Xbox Game Pass and Microsoft will probably not allow it to exist. And if you think that this is not enough, then also there was a massive backlash after narrative director had to explain himself why they added a non-binary companion to ESO, so basically the Elder Scrolls Online. And I don't know, man, all of these informations are not looking so good for the game, are not looking so good for Fallout 5, neither for the Elder Scrolls 6, and let's just hope that Todd Howard will somehow save this game and that in 10 years we will be able to install it on our smart fridge. And I would like to know what you think about all of this situation, and will you pre-order the Elder Scrolls 6? Comments are yours. Please leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.